Hi everyone, this is Mindy Egan, and I'm excited to introduce to you the Seaside Post Stamp, Die, and Stencil set. So first we'll take a look at the stamp set, which has a ton of postage-themed images on it, plus some florals and some sentiments. These smaller ones at the top are going to fit nicely inside of the small postage stamp that I will show you in just a moment. But first, I have everything stamped out, which is going to give you a better idea of what everything looks like. So here I have stamped out that large flower and also the leaves. There is that yellow kind of star shape that actually fits inside of that floral image to complete your flower. Then we have sentiments like thinking of you and missing you. The postage, 25 cents, 10 cents, small and large. We have a stripe on the bottom so you can really get that postage or postcard feel. And then those smaller sentiments that kind of go inside the smaller postage. Now this is the coordinating die set, which has that large postage background. We also have that small one on there, plus a bunch of additional images. The large postage has that fun postage border around the edge, plus the stitching. And some of the images include a lifesaver, we have an anchor, we have the bridge, and also a sailboat. Now with the bridge, there is some water there, which is this skinny strip right here. It fits perfectly on top of that area. See, on this first one, I left it blank. On the second one, I added that blue strip for the water. Then we have a starfish and a small flower. The small flowers are really fun if you want to decorate around your postage. Now here is that kind of skinny water piece I wanted to show you. I found it in my little die cut stash. And then for the flower, there is the main flower piece. There is the center, which looks like a little star, but actually goes in the center of the flower, and then some smaller leaves. These kind of pieces up here I'm pointing to go layer on top of your lifesaver. So you have a circle for your lifesaver, and then you can die cut out those smaller pieces in the red cardstock. For your sailboat, you can die cut it out of a plain cardstock, and then there's another piece here to actually die cut out your sail. I think that piece for the sail on your sailboat also makes a really cool shark fin if you wanted to kind of add a little more interest to the front of your cards, just something that I had thought of. And then here is that small postage. Now you're going to be able to fit a lot, or actually all of these kind of small die cuts in that small postage to set a scene. So for this larger flower, this is going to coordinate with your stamped image. So there is a die to cut out the large flower and also the leaves here, like I had stamped out. So already so much in this stamp and die set, but we do also have a coordinating stencil, which is really fun to create some scenes with. Now on the back of the packaging, it shows you what the intended look is to be with the lighthouse. You have your water, a beach, and then some grass. Here's a look at the stencils themselves. You can see this part, it has the sun. There is an area that masks off the lighthouse. There's a wide open area there for your beach. And also off on the side, we'll color in your lighthouse and the sun. So lots of pieces just on one stencil. The second stencil is going to fill in the water and the grass. And then on the right-hand side, we have kind of this open square, which is going to fit perfectly for that small postage, and then some stripes on there as well. So I did a few of them already off screen. This is just a fun color combination one that I did. I have another one that is more in the blues, kind of the nautical theme. And then that open one, you can create some ink blended skies to put your sailboat on top of. This is another one I did using the actual sun stencil. Now I did create a background, so you're going to see how it exactly is going to look on the front of your postage. I will be showing you how to create this just a little bit later on in the video, but this is where I lined up the stencil inside of that large postage. So it fits perfectly inside of the stitched lines. Now on the stencils here, you can see we have some registration marks. It's going to show you how to line up the edge of your postage die cut piece to fit that in perfectly within the stitched edge. There's also some registration points on there as well if you wanted to do just an A2 size card front, if you didn't want to die cut out that postage. I did an example of that as well, where I just did it on an A2 size card front. You can either leave as is for a clean and simple card, or you can trim out on your own. And here in the water, I did a little masking to eliminate the sun rays on there. So totally optional. I am going to show you how to create this. So I'm starting out with white cardstock that I used that large postage die on, and I'm attaching this to a sticky mat. You can hold it down to your work surface with either a repositionable tape or a post-it tape. The sticky grid is going to help me where my stencil is going to stick to that sticky grid. So I lined up kind of those etchings of the postage and the stitched line of the stencil with my cardstock. Now I'm going to mask off the top layer. So right now I just have that bottom open piece, which is going to be my grass. Now for this, I'm going to be using, I believe this was avocado ink, using a blending brush, and I'm going to add that green in there. I like to add a little contrast to this, so I'm going to bring in a smaller blending brush, and I'm going to add that same color, just a little heavier handed, down towards the bottom. You can use Post-it tape or sticky notes to mask off the area above, just so you don't get any ink transfer in that other open area, because that's going to be a different color. So I peeled up the Post-it tape, and now I'm going to cover that portion I just ink blended. So that way I'm not transferring any green ink up into this area. This is going to be our water. I'm starting with Tide Pool ink, and I'm coming in first from each side, and I'm going to have it kind of fade off as I get towards the center. Now I would suggest kind of getting an idea where your sun is going to be, so that I was trying to create a shine in the water, and you want to make sure your shine lines up with your sun. So after I ink blended, I'm going to peel back this first layer of the stencil. I also could have just filled in the water completely with the blue, but I really like adding kind of that shine to the water. I'm lining up the second layer of the stencil, again using those etchings on the stencil to help line it up perfectly with my cardstock. And now again, I'm using Post-it tape. I'm going to mask off the open areas above where I want to ink blend. So going off of the guide, this is going to be my sandy beach. I'm going to bring in wheat ink, and I'm going to just lightly add some color to these open areas of the stencil to create that beach. Now, the way this stencil was designed, I believe the sun rays are supposed to be on the water, so it kind of looks like a reflection, but I wanted it to be just a true blue. So I am going to mask off. I went to the Post-it tape and went right to my water line. So I'm masking off the water that I already ink blended. Now I'm going to do the sun rays. So I started out with buttercup ink, adding that over all the open areas of the stencil. And then I'm going to come in with clementine, starting in the middle, and have that branch out just a little ways. You can see when I peel back my Post-it tape, I don't have any of those sun rays, but you absolutely can add them in to create that reflection. I noticed the shine in my water is off and my lighthouse is off. I did not line that up very well. So I shifted my stencil over, and I'm lining up the lighthouse. I'm kind of using my previously stenciled area as a guide. And trust me, this stencil is actually very easy to line up and ink blend. I was just being very careless, and I was really hoping that the poppy ink that I'm using to color in the lighthouse was going to help hide my imperfection, which I was very happy to say it did. So you can't really tell that my lighthouse wasn't properly aligned. Now I'm bringing in that little circle that's off on the right-hand side of the stencil. I'm going to mask off the areas around this because I want to add an additional color here. I'm going to bring in my buttercup. I also needed to add that line to mask off my water, and then just quickly ink blend over that circle. So I did quite a bit of masking in here, but I think the results are absolutely fabulous, whether you use the full ray of sunshine or you just have this water. Then I can just carefully peel up my cardstock from my sticky mat. It's going to bend just a little bit, but it does not rip and it doesn't hurt my cardstock at all. I just kind of bend it back into shape, which is going to be perfect for a card front. And I just want to quickly show you how those other kind of square stencil areas work with your smaller postage. The smaller postage I die cut out of white cardstock, and I'm going to take first this lines, and I'm lining it up just to leave an even border all the way around to the edge. I'm just going to bring in blueberry ink, add in some of that color to these stripes to kind of create that nautical look. And for that open one, you could do any color combination if you wanted to be a solid color, or if maybe you wanted to do an ink blended sky for your sailboat. A couple card projects I have now I want to share with you. This first one is doing that scene that I just created for you. This time I added this missing you sentiment up at the top, and then I have the sailboat there kind of sailing across the water. I also have that postage mark down in the bottom left-hand corner. That came off of the stamp set. And just so that postage didn't stand out like a sore thumb, I stamped it in the exact color I ink blended with, which, like I said, I think that was avocado ink. Now in the background here, I did blueberry cardstock, and I also took that postage stamp image and stamped it multiple times to create a very subtle background to this card. My second card is actually featuring the smaller postage one because I really loved all of these really cool kind of seaside or nautical images. Now the background here, I did the same thing. I did wheat cardstock and stamped those postage images in wheat ink and kind of filled in the 10-cent and 25-cent stamp in between some of the open areas. I used the Lifesaver, Starfish, and the Anchor and stamped in those smaller coordinating sentiments and the stripes I created with Tide Pool ink. And that is a closer look at the Seaside Port stamp, die, and stencil set. Thanks for stopping by.